Good evening. The Green Party wants to give illegal migrants free houses, a taxpayer-funded wage with no requirement to work, and free NHS treatment. According to internal documents seen by the Daily Mail, the Greens plan to abolish immigration detention and grant a full amnesty to illegal migrants to stay in Britain, even if their asylum claims are rejected. So, if an illegal migrant has had their case rejected because they're a rapist, a paedophile, a murderer or a terrorist, Zack Polanski's Green Party, wants to let them stay in Britain? In fact, they'll give them a house. Now, today, this happened in the Channel. At least 10 boats arrived. We think that it was very close to somewhere in the region of 600-700 illegal migrants that made their way to Britain today alone. First bit of good weather we had, they're right back at it. But according to documents seen by the Daily Mail, the Green Party's policy is this. Migrant families would be accommodated in a house or a flat with exclusive use, and lone men would each have their own room in shared accommodation, but would be given their own property if they claim to be LGBTQIA+, for, quotes, safeguarding purposes. They would also be given a wage at the same level of universal basic income, with no requirement to be either working or actively seeking work. They will be allowed to work, if they obviously can get a job, from the moment they arrive with no restrictions, and they'll be entitled to free NHS care. Now, I'm going to play you a clip. It's an exclusive clip that we came into possession of here on my show today. Watch this. Let's see if we can play that again without sound. So this is a man in the back of a lorry waving a knife around and making stabbing motions. We believe that he was in a lorry destined for Britain, and you can see the St. George's Cross and the Union flag in that social media post there, waving a knife around in the back of a lorry. Under the Green Party's policy, men like that will be given a house, a taxpayer-funded salary and free NHS treatment. And he'd even be allowed to stay if his asylum claim was rejected. This is mental. It's mental. When you add that to the idea that the Green Party wants to legalise crack cocaine and heroin, and the fact that they've been infiltrated by people like this...
Raise the voice of Palestine! Allahu Akbar!
I think you seriously have to ask if the Green Party are the biggest threat to Britain in modern times. Let's get the thoughts of my panel. Director of Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood, businessman and activist Adam Brooks, and journalist and broadcaster Nina Mishkov. Right, Mark, so the Green Party's policy on illegal immigration, your views?
Absolutely crazy. I'm glad they want to legalise crack cocaine, because I'm going to need some if they ever form a government, right? I mean, it is beyond bananas. I mean, put aside that it is morally wrong, we should not be providing these services. It's also complete.
There's nothing more important than keeping your money and your identity safe online. And with so many VPN options available, choosing the right one can be pretty daunting. But this video's sponsor, ExpressVPN, is making the choice easier for GBNews viewers. ExpressVPN is offering up to 73% off, plus 4 extra months free. That's top-level security from just £2.49 a month, and you're covered by their 30-day money-back guarantee. So just click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code now. Remember, when you're online, you are often sharing personal data, so hackers can steal your information, your passwords, your photos, and your bank details in just seconds. But ExpressVPN encrypts your connection, making it virtually impossible for hackers to access your personal information. So why choose ExpressVPN? Well, it couldn't be easier to use. With just one click, you are protected. And ExpressVPN uses military-grade AES 256 encryption, which is the same standard trusted by the US government to guard their classified information. With their new tiered plans, you can protect up to 14 devices at once and manage passwords securely. Live chat support is available 24/7, and it typically connects you in under a minute with a real person. Click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code to get up to 73% off ExpressVPN plus 4 extra months free. Start protecting yourself today with ExpressVPN. Get the thoughts of my panel: Director of Public Services Mark Littlewood, businessman and activist Adam Brooks, and journalist and broadcaster Nina Mishkov. Right, Mark, so the Green Party's policy on illegal immigration, your views?
Absolutely crazy. I'm glad they want to legalise crack cocaine, because I'm going to need some if they ever form a government, right? I mean, it is beyond bananas. I mean, put aside that it is morally wrong, we should not be providing these services. It is also completely unaffordable. And I've often argued on this programme, Patrick, that to my mind, the biggest problem with immigration and asylum is the pull factor. Sure, we can have really interesting discussion about how could we actually stop the small boats in the channel, and, you know, what could the Royal Navy do, and, you know, what do we do with people when they disembark, all that sort of stuff, worthy arguments. But really the problem is that people know that there truly is a pot of gold, and you don't need to go to the end of the rainbow to find it. And the Green Party's response to this is to put even more pots of gold available. So the number of small boat crossings would increase almost in direct proportion to the benefits that you can accrue while you're here. So we need to, I mean, I think it's a pretty good rule of thumb. If you look at the Green Party and its manifesto and its policy proposals, if you do exactly the opposite, you're probably on the right track. And what we should be doing here is exactly the opposite. We cannot be the welfare state for the world. The National Health Service cannot be a World Health Service. This would exacerbate what has already become an absolutely disastrous problem for the UK.
Yeah, I don't know if we might be able to get that clip up again of the old knife man in the back of the lorry there, if we can talk over it. But, I mean, that is a guy in the back of a lorry. We've got that exclusive footage here today, waving a knife around, making stabbing motions, saying he's on his way to Britain. Yeah. And there he is. And the reality now is that under Zack Polanski's Green Party, he could be given a house. If he says he's gay, he will be given a house or a flat just somewhere in the UK, that bloke.
It's horrifying, and the Green Party have no idea what they're talking about. They are lunatics. The Green Party are a bunch of lunatics. You've got Zack Polanski that went over to the migrant camps in Calais, basically to give a load of migrants a cuddle. You've got the deputy leader, Rachel Millward, that doesn't want migrants in her area, but they've got to go everywhere else. Now, to give illegals all the right to stay here, there are some estimates of 1.5 million illegal immigrants in this country. Where are we going to find the houses? Where are we going to find this money to give them these benefits? That money comes from our taxes. And look, the man you just showed with a knife, he could be put in the Bell Hotel next week, just 2 miles from my house.
We could be put next to your house.
Near where my girls...
In your house?
Near where my girls or my nieces go to school.
Yeah.
We have men like that coming over. And the Green Party want to tell the whole world, come here. What is the point of an asylum system? What is the point when you're telling the whole world, if you want to come to Britain, we will house you and we will give you money, no matter what you've done and no matter what you do while you're here?
Nina, do you think, when you look at that and the whole package, really, of Green Party, do you think that they are dangerous?
Not as dangerous as the Reform councillor who suggested that the Labour MP should be shot. Let's not forget that Nigel Farage did not take the opportunity, when invited to by Keir Starmer, to apologise for that, but talked about Che Goss.
It's not official Reform policy, though, is it?
No, it's not officially Reform policy.
This is official Polanski Green policy.
Look, you know, if you're not put off by Polanski's teeth, you're going to accept anything that he's going to say through them.
It's a bit personal.
Of course it's personal. Right. It's an insult. And I'm perfectly aware of that.
OK.
The thing is with Polanski that every time he appears, they get more party members. It's extraordinary. I think they've got 195,000 and at the last count, which is madness. He appeals to young people who are idealistic, who haven't been sort of tempered by life and practicalities. Yeah. And so, therefore, he will give out these statements which are entirely extreme, ridiculous and untenable, really. I mean, everybody would know that isn't, you know, you don't do this.
But people. Look, they're polling around 15% nationally, right? That's roughly speaking where they are. And if you have the combination, seriously, of legalised crack and heroin, a motion that's going to be voted on at their conference, which is that maybe Jews don't have the right to self-determination and that Israel shouldn't exist. And which is ironic, actually, I suppose, in a way. Well, no, not really, because it's talking about a world without borders and the idea that anyone who's had their asylum claim rejected will be allowed to stay in Britain and given a house.
Yep.
And a taxpayer-funded salary. I mean, let's talk about that, the salary.
I mean, it's beyond fantasy economics. I mean, none of this adds up, even if you thought this was a good idea. And I'm surprised there's as many as 195,000 people who are willing to join a party simply they do think it's a good idea.
And growing, apparently.
It is completely unaffordable. I mean, it is tapping into some sort of lunacy in the electorate. It is utter madness. I mean, effectively, what Polanski has managed to do is to walk into the void left by Jeremy Corbyn and the collapse of your party, and the wholly unrealistic, fantastical people on the left, an impossible coalition to keep together. I mean, I just don't know at their party conference how they're going to divide the socially conservative Islamist with the, rainbow alphabet community. I mean, it's going to be completely ridiculous. So it is a completely untenable coalition. But at the moment, it appeals to anyone, or a good number of people, who say, I am woke, left and progressive, and I don't like the way things are going, and I want to virtue signal how much I care about victims and the oppressed. That's what it is. It's a club and a cult for that.
It is a cult.
It is not a policy programme for anything other, for any serious government. In fact, it's a policy programme that would destroy the United Kingdom in weeks.
Yes.
But it's a very big cult, and you can't ignore it. That's the trouble. I mean, but what we need in terms of migration is somebody to say this is a state of emergency, hire lots of people, make the deadline 3 months.
We've been saying this on this channel for years, and people like you attack me and say I'm racist.
No, I don't attack you and say you're racist. I've never used the word racist in my life to you.
Suddenly it's you're coming round to...
Interesting. I've always thought that. I have always thought that.
Okay,
but I'm
Nina,
saying the process...
You told me once that these were doctors coming across on the boat. Yes, you did. And I'll phrase what you said. You said one of these could treat your young kid for cancer in the future, and I mocked you and laughed.
No, I didn't say all of them are doctors. I said one of them could, and you don't know one of them.
One thing, though, Patrick.
But they should be put to work if they are able to.
Shouldn't be here.
Sorry,
they can't even speak English half the time.
What are they going to do? Our lazy young people. You cannot get a British boy to get off the sofa and pick fruit.
Do you agree, Nina? Do you agree, Nina?
Nobody can. What's happening to our agriculture? We need them in agriculture.
Do you agree
if they don't have the
basic test should be: are you a net contributor or a net taker? And if you're a net contributor, we will probably let you in.
One thing, Nina.
They want to work.
The Greens, these documents show that they want a borderless world.
Yes.
That is like having a house without a front door. Would you go to bed and sleep tight knowing that you had no front door in your house? No, you wouldn't. This is what the Greens want for our country, and it will destroy us. We're being destroyed now by this immigration catastrophe. These would just turbocharge it, and I would move. If the Greens got in, I would take my kids to somewhere safe, because this would be a hellhole under the Greens.
You want to go to Spain, do you?
I will go wherever is safe for my children, because right now this country is on a downward spiral.
Spain is just actually legitimising 500,000, 500,000.
I would go wherever is safe for my children.
But when you look at all this in the round, like about, there's a lot of rhetoric around at the moment about dangers in politics, dangers of rhetoric, dangers of language, when you just look at this particular specific policy from the Green Party on its own, in total isolation, a universal basic income, right? That gets given to all the illegals. All the illegals are allowed to stay, even if they've failed an asylum application. And some people will have failed it because they've committed the most heinous crimes that you could possibly think of. And then they give them a house, which we don't have. You're bankrupt, well, having to basically live in cardboard boxes
Well,
within minutes.
But we might have clean rivers
Young people,
and a few more trees.
That's
young
really
people see
interesting.
that as idealism. It's not realism.
Yeah,
it's
that-
not realism.
I think what Adam said is the interesting point here. The reason they're surfing a bit of a wave is quite a lot of folk think of the Green Party as clean the rivers, mow the lawn, save the panda, you know, the nice cuddly stuff like that. And it's going to take a lot of exposure before we realise actually their programme is letting everybody, give them tons of cash, and you can have your kids on crack cocaine, because that's
Mo Ali
actually the
shouting
manifesto.
Allah Akbar.
Yeah. But it will take a bit of time. They've actually got quite a good legacy brand, which is associated with soft, cuddly, tree-hugging, like wildlife sort of stuff. In truth, they are now segueing into being a Marxist, a revolutionary Marxist party, basically.
Well, with a strong Islamic current.
Yeah, I know
I mean,
about
massive.
that.
I mean, literally, that is part
That
of
is a
their
big core of their
Dorothy,
base.
that lives at number 59, doesn't know that
No,
yet.
she just wants to save the panda and clean the rivers.
Exactly.
And Polanski's going to need to be exposed on this. Every time he does a long-form interview, he gets destroyed.
Yes.
And the more of those that happen, I want to see some, like, top economist interview him. He would be shredded.
I reckon I know more about the economy than him.
But the thing is, he knows he doesn't need to be practical or have the sums add up. I mean, when
That's
Nigel...
a good starting point.
So
But
it's
it's
a cult.
deceitful, though, isn't it?
But Nigel Farage had all sorts of daft policies. And
But he'll
still
sit
does.
down and get interviewed for an hour.
No, but then...
will back up what he says. This guy can't.
He just threw things out because he knew.
But that policy alone is existential to the future of this
Completely.
country.
And it could be the Greens versus Reform at the next election.
Well, there we go. Right, look. A Green Party spokesman has told, this was the Daily Mail newspaper that they told this to, we're proud of this policy, voted on and decided by our members. We know it's popular as well. Green policy regularly comes out as the most popular in the polls. So we reached out to the Green Party as well. We asked them to come on. We haven't heard back from them, so